Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your hosts, Tom Zappala and Boston sports personality, John Mallory.
JM, where are you? Seriously, where are you?
I'm in an undisclosed location in Massachusetts.
All right, so to me, you look like you're in a bank vault or the basement of like a, I don't know, some type of a reform school.
Not quite the basement, but on a lower floor in some form of educational or rehabilitation facility.
Now, do the higher ups in that building know that you're doing a podcast?
Well, they do now, but
really,
no. I've cleared it with the proper authorities.
You have. All right. Well, that's good. I'm in by myself. Well, I mean, the beautiful Chrissy's here with me, but I'm traveling solo today. I have a little chair for my leg, but I'm not using it right this minute, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right. The name of the show is Great American Collectible Show. Tom Zapp with my good friend, Boston Ball Breaker. That's what you were. You were when you did that review, that column. You were
My old media blitz
You
column,
were called the Boston Ball Breaker because when you were done with that column, there was not one sports personality left that liked you.
No, and I burned a lot of bridges, and that's why I'm doing this show. So,
by the way, you can watch us on Facebook, listen to us on YouTube, watch us on YouTube, Spotify, all your favorite platforms. But let's bring in our pal. This guy's always special to us. Mr. Michael Provenzale from Heritage Auction. Michael, how are you, buddy?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
All right, now let's talk about your background. I see a map behind you. Now, I can't tell you what exciting.
By the way, Prov and I are we're actually in the same room.
I was going to say, I can't tell you what exciting backgrounds both of you guys have. I mean, it's like I'm mesmerized. I see South America. Go ahead.
Special treat for you guys. I'm at home in the west wing of the Provenzale estate right now, which is the map room.
It's the map. The map. That's great. All right. I want to ask you guys both this question because we have a local radio station here that's extremely popular, Sports Talk, WEEI. They're really the number 2 in the market, and I was on the air with them this morning, not on the air. I was off the air with them having a discussion, JM, with Chris Curtis.
Okay.
And it was in regards to a couple of comments that Jermaine Wiggy made relative to what happened at Tyreek Hill yesterday. Okay. Did you guys see the long version of what happened? From the cops' camera?
I'll be honest, I have not, Zap. So yeah.
It's like appalling.
But I heard it was pretty bad.
It was unbelievable. Prov, what is your take on that?
I think it got off to a rough start. I think Tyreek, he was in a hurry and didn't want to roll up his window, but he wasn't doing anything illegal there. And I think the cops just handled it poorly.
I was,
obviously not Dolphins fans ripping him out of the car and throwing him down on his knees.
But it was after. It was this comments coming out of their mouths after, and when his two teammates really innocently walked up, just say, "Hey guys, what's going on here?" I mean, it was like unbelievable. It was a 30-minute video, JM. And it was like, are you kidding me? I was appalled last night. I saw it. I was absolutely appalled. But anyways, so Wiggy made a comment today on WEEI. Jermaine Wiggins is a Boston sports personality. He was a tight end for the Patriots. And he made a comment and he's black. He made a comment today telling people basically not to listen to cops if in fact they speak to you like that. And my company, we're a big sponsor of the show, as you know, JM.
Yep.
So they got inundated with phone calls. So I emailed Chris, and I asked Chris to call me during commercial break. I says, Chris, what the hell was that all about? And they were really upset with him. They were really genuinely upset with him. And I don't know what's going to happen. I think he's going to get suspended because it was like blatant. If he wasn't black, it was very, very bad.
I think these things are always dangerous. And look, we've had a lot of them over the last few years. I think it's always dangerous. And not that I don't want people to spread their wings creatively or journalistically, but I think it's always a little odd when this is really not a sports story. This is a news story. This is a societal story. When sports guys try to get up on their high horse and comment on these things. And listen, I haven't seen the video. I heard all about it. I'm sure Wiggy is legitimately emotional about this. I think white or black, you should be legitimately emotional about this. But you have to watch your words, and you can't say things like that.
I mean,
first of all, because
I got calls.
It's idiotic. First of all, it's idiotic to say.
As soon as he said it, I got 3 phone calls from some of our customers.
Yeah. And all these things are situational, right, Prov? I mean, it's all case by case by case. And you can't do blanket statements like that. This was a bad performance by the police, obviously.
It really was.
But you can't do a blanket statement like that.
I have some friends that are police officers, and I know
Me too.
The police force really works to have their officers start with de-escalation. Correct. And that's a good example of where that did not happen.
Exactly.
In fact, the opposite.
But
but I think it's incumbent on, if you are dealing with police as a citizen, there should be some de-escalation on our side too.
I agree.
100%.
It's a tense situation for everybody involved when you're getting pulled over or having an interaction with the police. Always best to let cooler heads prevail on both sides.
100%.
All right, let's move on. I don't know why you guys brought this subject up, but anyway.
First of all, when you said you were talking to E, I thought you were about to announce we got a gig.
No.
On the station. I'm like, oh, he's worked a deal. We're going.
Yeah. No, that's. I
guess I'm staying in the ball.
You're with us, baby. You're with
stay
us.
in the back ball.
You're with us. Pro, let's talk about the last auction. Everybody knows about the Ruth called short jersey. But the entire auction was like off the charts successful. Biggest auction in the history of Heritage? Sports auction.
Biggest auction in the history of sports collectibles by almost $10 million. So when we put the auction together, we got the Ruth jersey very early, which people who know the auction business, usually you get the high dollar stuff at the end of the process, right when you're about to close it up. But we got that early, the Ruth jersey. We knew it was going to be the most valuable item that's ever hit the auction block. So then we were able to recruit all those other iconic items, the Joe Jackson bat, the Hank Aaron rookie jersey, the Jackie Robinson jersey. And the big question was, putting an auction that big together, was there enough money in the industry to support that many high dollar items? And, it was a great moment for us, of course, but more importantly, it was a huge moment for the hobby and the industry.
It was phenomenal. And you did a great job, Mike. You did. I mean, every time you were all over the news. I mean, how many interviews did you do? You did a great job. I was actually very proud. Ellen and I were watching this. Man, Prov is just killing it. You were killing it.
Thank you very much. As I told Chris Ivey, that 24 million result was mostly due to me. So I'm expecting a great bonus. But, one of the most important things when we got that jersey was we immediately put together a plan to take it to as many cities and events as possible. Obviously, it's a small number of people that can afford a $24 million shirt. but it was something everyone was going to want to see. And it was really important to us that all these collectors were able to see it. And I essentially lived and traveled with that jersey and the other highlights for 6 weeks. We took it to our Chicago office. We took it to Wrigley Field. The Cubs were great. All the fans at the game against the Brewers got to take their picture with it, the players, the staff, then the National, then our Palm Beach office, then our New York office. So it was great to get it in front of so many collectors. And I'll tell you what, at the National and the shows, so many kids got to see it. And that was really special because I know you guys remember 15 years ago in the industry, we were saying, how do we get more kids involved? How do we get younger? The demographic had gotten a little old. The pandemic kind of helped us out with that. A lot more people came in and a lot with kids. And it was great to see the next generation so interested in that piece of history. And not just the dollar figure attached to it, but the moment and the legacy of that moment.
Prov, your Palm Beach office, it's open year round now, right?
It is open year round.
How many people man that office?
They have about a dozen people there. So Heritage has offices throughout the world, and we have experts from different departments there. So for sports, our VP, Rob Rosen, is in the Palm Beach office.
Is he? Okay, I know Rob. And the reason
Yeah.
I'm asking is, that's literally 15 minutes from my house in Florida.
Oh, you should stop by.
No, I want to take it a step further because I was talking to Rico about it. We'd like to do a show from there.
Oh, definitely. I can make that happen.
All right, I'll talk to you later on about that. I was talking to Rico. I says, Rick, man, this would be perfect. We do a remote because usually we do a remote from my house or from some godforsaken venue. But I said to Rico, I says, man, let's do a show from Heritage. Be perfect.
That's a great idea. And like our other offices, we have previews and displays from our 55 different departments that rotate around. So we can probably find a good match where we've got sports or something else you're interested on display in there.
Sure.
It's essentially a rotating museum at all our offices, and we do free appraisals on anything. So go in there and try and stump our experts with whatever you have.
JM?
So, Prov, I mean, it's kind of like a team when they win the championship, right? And you have this great moment. Great moment, I could tell for you personally. I'm sure for everyone at Heritage personally, obviously professionally, set the business on its ear, set a new standard. So, what do you do for an encore? I mean, what's next? How do you take that? Kind of learn from that. Obviously, you're not going to probably get another item like that right away.
See?
You never know. You never know.
Hey.
Or maybe you did.
I have that Rico Petrocelli game-used Little League glove that I'll be more than happy to send to you.
That's another cover item. Thank you for the kind words. It was a lot of fun, and it was a big moment for everyone. I kind of relate it to the story of when the Cowboys won the Super Bowl in '72. Roger Staubach his off-season job was working at a real estate company, and after the game, he was MVP. His boss called him, said, "Great job. You don't have to come into work tomorrow on Monday, but I'll see you on Tuesday."
That's it.
So after the auction, we started proofing our next catalog, which launched yesterday. So it's a good position to be. The cycle keeps going. Yes, it's great to have $24 million items, but most of what we sell is under $5,000. So we have stuff for every collector. There was stuff for every collector in that platinum auction as well. And we've got another auction open. It has 3,500 items, whatever you could want. So I kind of like not resting on my laurels and just getting back to work. We've got another auction open, and we're going to do the same effort for this, regardless of the value of the items.
Nice to get that $24 million item.
Think?
Though, isn't it?
Hey, Michael, of the high-end items that you sell at an auction, using this past auction, I know there are some high rollers that buy those top-end items. Do they all prefer to stay under the radar once they make a purchase, pretty much?
Generally, yes. All our clients on both sides of the paddle are completely confidential unless they want to be known, and most do not. There's some exceptions. Jim Irsay, the Colts owner, is a huge collector, and he puts out PR releases and social media posts when he wins items. So he's pretty out front. He's got an amazing museum of his collection. So there's some people who like to make it known. Mostly, they'll post it on their own social media if they've won something, which I always like to see. But for the most part, I would say the guys that are the big dollar guys, they just don't want the attention.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured. JM?
You said you have a current auction going now, Prov?
It opened yesterday, and bidding has already begun.
So can you talk about a couple of items that stand out to you in that auction?
Yeah, my favorite is we have a 1960 Roberto Clemente game-worn jersey. It's beautiful. It's the sleeveless vest variety, which you rarely see. And then, of course, 1960, huge year for the Pirates. That was the championship season. And 60 was the first year Clemente made an all-star game. It's photo matched. Beautiful piece. And then also we have a 1968 Topps complete set. Almost all the cards in it are a 10.
Oh, wow.
And the rest are 9s.
Wow.
It is really amazing.
Are you kidding me?
Did this
Everybody knows-
come from one particular source, Prov, or multiple?
One person. It's
Really?
number two on the PSA registry.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how hard that 68
It's
Topps
impossible.
condition-wise. I went through the whole thing the other day, and it is unbelievable. So 517 of the cards are 10s, and then the other 81 are 9s.
What is what's the estimate on that set, in your opinion?
1.2 million is the estimate.
Wow.
So
Wow.
this we've seen some great prices in the industry for complete sets. I think a lot of that is due to, in the past 5 years, so many people have come into the industry that were never in it or are getting back into it, and a lot of them looking at it to rekindle nostalgia or as an investment. And we've had a lot of great high-grade complete sets for offer, and I think a lot of people are saying, I'm a banker now, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I don't have time to put it all together, but I had that set when I was a kid and I want it. So we've got a lot of high dollar complete sets, 56 tops, 52 tops, 62. So if you're looking to put together a huge collection with one bid, this is a good auction for that.
And you know something? It warms my heart that everything you're talking about is vintage. It really does, and I'm being honest with you. I know I beat it into the ground, but it's for me. It's just so refreshing to see that the vintage market is still the go-to market and just red hot.
And both you guys, don't you think that, and Prov, you kind of touched on it with the jersey. We've talked about this Zap a lot over the last couple of years. Don't you think that, Prov, now that the younger, I'm not even saying younger age-wise, but newer collectors who maybe are more focused on the headlines of today are now seeing that? I'm starting to sense that that's happening now, that people are looking back to the root, maybe not even as far back as Ruth, but maybe back to the 50s, the 40s, the 60s. I'm seeing it now in the hobby.
Yeah, and in 2020 through 2022, there was some really crazy prices for modern cards and modern collectibles, and I get that. I collected modern guys when I started. My prized possession is a Troy Aikman 89 rookie card. Never going to sell it. Sorry, Chris Ivy. But I think that was kind of a fervor, and those prices have come down to a more realistic level where they should be, a more comfortable level. It's still way higher than it was before the pandemic. But I think once you get in, and this happened with me and a lot of collectors, I'm sure, you start with what's current and who you know and who you're watching, and then you move backwards. When I started collecting, I didn't care about Wilt Chamberlain cards or Jim Brown. I wanted Emmitt Smith and I wanted Michael Jordan. And the advantage that the younger collectors have now is back when we were first learning, you had to learn by trial and error, or find somebody who knew it, or spend a lot of time at card shops, or do research. But now kids today, they've got all the research they need right there in their pocket.
That's it.
You guys are making a point, and JM, on the modern part of it, and based on what Mike is saying, I'm still seeing a little different. Seeing it a little different, where the older modern collectors are gravitating towards the vintage stuff. But the 14 and 15-year-old kids, man, still, they don't want any part of it. They're flipping cards. They're walking around with their briefcases and, hey, let's trade this for this and this for this.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing
the thing
that.
For those kids is vintage for them is the 80s.
Exactly.
Which we consider that still modern because I have so much gray hair. Right. But that's vintage to them, and as they get older, your range expands.
Yep.
And I'm seeing that too. And I think a lot of people, once you really get into the industry, we don't like to talk about it as investments, but people do think about that when they buy. Is the older it is, the better investment it is. Modern guys are a big risk. Look at Zion. There was a lot of money put into Zion Williamson when he came in. He's a fine player. Yeah. But it doesn't look like he's going to be the earth-shattering,
there's a bunch
Jordan
of them.
guy.
I mean, there's a bunch of them. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. By the way, a little later on the show, Jeff Marren, our good friend from Rockhurst Auctions, is going to be joining us. He's got a nice little auction going right now. We're going to take a quick break, and we come back. It's Tom's famous Gax blast from the past. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, mile high. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Let's go! Batter up!
Hi, everyone. This is Rico Petrocelli. JustCollect.com. A leader in the vintage sports card industry is giving free appraisals on your vintage cards. They'll evaluate your collection for free and let you know the value of it at no cost and no obligation. If you're ready to sell, JustCollect.com will offer you industry-leading prices to buy your card collection. To begin your free baseball card appraisal, visit JustCollect.com or call them at 732-828-2261. That's JustCollect.com for your free vintage card appraisals and top buy prices for your cards. Check out JustCollect.com today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company, Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
With record-breaking sales from everything from the white border T206 Honus Wagner for $3.12 million to some great items that support the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Golden Auctions has set the highest standards for the finest in sports cards, autographs, and game-used memorabilia. We're always accepting consignments of high-end premium sports treasures or entire collections. Please register for our next auction and bid now at goldenauctions.com. That's golden with an I. We at Golden Auctions are committed to providing unsurpassed customer service for the discriminating collector. That's exactly why we're the leader in the industry. Visit goldenauctions.com or call 856-767-8550. Remember, Golden Auctions. We don't just break records, we shatter them.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back. Just a reminder, a little later on in the show, our good friend Jeff Marren from Rockhurst Auctions is going to be joining us. Jeff is one funny guy. He gets it, JM. He understands what we're all about.
He's great.
Doesn't take us serious. We don't take him serious. We have fun. Also, a shout out to our good friend, Derek Grady, who I know some of you haven't seen on our show for a while. Derek's been a little under the weather, and he's rebounding nicely. He's going to be out of action for a bit longer. So we've reached out to Prove, and by the time we're done with Prove, Grady's out. It's very simple. He's out. No, Derek, we wish him well. Derek, we're thinking about you, and wishing you nothing but the best. But right now, this is the highlight of the Great American Collectibles Show because this is something that I came up with. Okay.
So this should so any viewers and listeners just go do something for the next couple minutes, and then we'll bring Prov back.
It is time for a GAX Blast from the Past, brought to us each week by our good friend Paul Borges and PB Collectibles, your neighborhood card shop. Go to pbcollectibles.com to find that special card or a piece of memorabilia. Today's blast, you guys, again, I know I say this every week. You can't see it. You're going to see it when it airs I'm talking about Prov and the other guy. You guys will see it tomorrow night when it airs. But this is a cool piece. 1941. This is Teddy Ballgame's quest for 400. So far, it's really good.
Remember this date, fans, September 28th, 1941. It may be a history-making day. Red Sox and A's in a doubleheader here at Shive Park in Philadelphia. But all eyes are on this man, Ted Williams, gunning for a 400 season. He's hitting an even 400. I think if I were Ted, I would sit out today, but Ted never backed into anything.
I got up to the plate, and I'm all set to hit. The pitcher was taking the sign, and all of a sudden, Bill McGowan, the umpire, stopped the game, and he turned his back towards the pitcher, and he started wiping the plate again. Right. It was perfectly clean, but he started wiping the plate again, and he said, in order to hit 400, he says, you got to be loose.
A lot of players, when they're told, you got to stay loose, all of a sudden you get all tight and you say, oh my God, I'm trying to hit 400. What am I doing here? But Ted Williams just laughed, and he's like, you got it. That's right. That's what I got to do.
First time I got up, Bob Johnson was playing first base that day, and I hit a ball sharply by him. And of course, that was a great hit for me because, you know, it got me going a little bit.
He hit a single the first time at bat, a home run the second time at bat.
Long drive, deep right field. This ball is out of here.
2 singles after that. That's the first game.
And after you hit 400 in the first game, is it true that Joe said you could sit out the second game?
Yes, it is. And I felt pretty confident, and I thought, well, I might as well just go on out and play the second game, which I did, and I got a couple more hits that game.
In the second game, a double that knocks out the public address horn in right field.
Williams, a line drive, blue darter. It hits the horn in right field, and Ted has himself a double. Ted finishes the doubleheader 6 for 8.
Wow. He goes 6 for 8 in the 2 games, and he winds up hitting 406.
6 for 8 over those 2 games.
Instead of batting 400, he winds up with 406.
Just an amazing feat. And, you know, I mean, you think about that year with DiMaggio and Williams. That was an amazing year for the baseball fan. Great piece of work. Thank you, Chrissy. And you guys will see it. You two will see it tomorrow night. But
he had let's just say he had balls as big as church bells. You know, I mean, but he did his whole career, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
his
wasn't going to sit out, wasn't going to take it halfway. And
I mean, listen, his
so.
swing was just a picture perfect swing. He was a tough guy to deal with. We all know that.
Hey, yeah, he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't the most likable guy at all.
But he could. He could hit a baseball, man. Prov, your
but
thoughts?
Don't you think, Zap, that like he was, and even yet later was my favorite player was Yaz, and a lot of people say he wasn't the most likable guy. He could be moody sometimes.
You think?
But when we were young, like we didn't care about that. We didn't see that either. You know, there wasn't so much coverage of.
Well, I think that's it.
All we cared about was how they played.
Yeah, I mean, in Yaz's case, that was certainly you're right. He was hidden. Yeah. He was insulated from a lot of that. But Ted Williams had that running battle with that sports writer Egan. And I can't remember his first name, and that really kind of exploded. You know, I think that's. But then he did a lot of silly things too. But anyway,
he did.
Great hitter.
I love in that clip right before the game starts, the umpires giving Ted Williams advice on how to hit 400. Right. Ted must have been like, "Get out of here."
Exactly. I saw Ted Williams play. My dad took me to Fenway Park. My brother and I saw him play twice. I was 7 years old. 7 and 8, 59, 60. And,
were you a fan? Did you get it then? Were you a fan then?
No. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what happened, though. They had this is really interesting. At that time, you have to understand something. If there were 6,000 people at the game, there were a lot at Fenway Park. And they had a drawing, 50-50 drawing, and my dad won the 50-50 drawing. He won like $10 silver or something like that. I'll never forget that. Listen, we are chatting with Mike Provenzale from Heritage Auction. Prov, a question about this new grading company, CGC. Is this company, in your opinion, a threat? With the Fanatics backing, a threat to PSA?
For us, I think having multiple options in the marketplace is what collectors want. PSA is obviously at the top of the heap. I don't consider them. I don't think it's a threat to them, given PSA's place in the marketplace. But it's good to have different options. I have a lot of clients who they prefer Beckett, or they prefer SGC, or they prefer PSA. It's good to have options, and there's a lot of options out there. I would just say to everyone, be very careful who you choose, just because there's some card grading companies out there that are a great deal right now, but they're probably not doing the best work. So just be sure you're choosing somebody that you're comfortable with and that the industry respects, and you'll be all right. But I don't think that PSA is shaking in their boots quite yet.
Yeah, I would stay away from companies like the JM Grading Company, because what you do, their philosophy is you send a card in and then they email you back to say, what do you want for a grade? You tell them what you want for a grade, and then they charge you for that, which is, pretty
score very high on customer service,
right?
Though.
Yeah. I had a lot of teachers like that at BC. That's how I got cum laude when I graduated.
Hey, your thoughts on FanFest, Prov?
I did not make it. I was we were having a preview at our New York office, but I talked to a bunch of people who went, and it sounded like it was a great event. I watched all the coverage on it. I'm excited about it. I'm a comic book collector as well, and I love Comic-Con. That's a great event, and I think this is a little more in line with that, where its effort is to bring more people into collecting and the sports industry, and that's a great aspect. And it looked like it was a party, which who can argue with that? I mean, it's supposed to be fun. That's what the industry's all about.
There was some great footage of Gronk arguing about his grade versus a Brady grade, and that was cool stuff. And you collect comic books, do you? Do you ever collect Archie comics?
Didn't go that far back. I'm a big Marvel guy. The Heritage Comics team has told me many times my comic book collection is horrible, but it has a lot of sentimental value to me. They're a little biased, I would say.
I would think.
But I'm a huge Spider-Man guy. I have a lot of Spider-Man related memorabilia. I've passed that and Cowboys fandom onto my kids. One is something you can really enjoy, and one brings a lot of disappointment.
Well, the reason I'm asking about the Archie comic books is because the next town over from us is Haverhill, Massachusetts. And Haverhill, Massachusetts is where the Archie characters actually lived in real life.
Oh.
And Ellen was in the newspaper publishing business, and she was the publisher of that city newspaper. And she was good friends with, can't remember his name, JM, you may remember his name. Is JM gone? James, there he is. JM, what was the guy who was the actual real Archie? Do you remember his name?
I don't.
Ellen was good friends with him.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Ellen was good friends with him. And the whole, it was really kind of a cool thing to see where this was and this was and this was. Pretty cool.
A real Jughead, then.
Oh, yeah. Actually, the real Jughead was on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors with Ellen. The real Jughead.
Now, if you tell me you knew Veronica, I'm going to be really impressed.
I don't know. I don't know who portrayed Veronica. That I don't know.
Just checking.
I have a question, a T206 question for you. The Sherry McGee era card is worth a lot of money. Why is that card, Mike, worth so much when there are so many era cards in the T206 collection?
Just really got the headlines for it, and not a big name player. In fact, if you asked anyone under 30 years old, they probably know nothing about it.
He was a good ball player.
Right, but he's not the Ty Cobb, the Honus Wagner, Christy Mathewson, anyone like that. But that has what really gave rise to Every week, I get 4 or 5 inquiries of someone that has a modern card that has some small error like that, and they think they've found a gold mine that's
Really?
worth 5 figures or 6 figures. So Sherry Maggie's had a big effect on my life and my time every week, still to this day. Those famous error cards have just led to a lot of people think that any error can be valuable, but it doesn't have the demand. That's the key there, the demand, and that is a famous error. Now, the Frank Thomas error card, that one is a good one. And a lot of that is he's so popular. That also got a lot of headlines. I remember reading Beckett as a kid when that was, one of the holy grails for collectors was the Frank Thomas error card, that and the Todd Van Poppel rookie. But Maggie, that's one that just, it's over 100 years old too. So it has that going for it, but it has the storyline behind it and the history.
When we wrote that book, and Joe was part of it, Joe O, we uncovered probably a half a dozen errors. Oh, easy. That we brought they asked us to. We brought to the attention of the Hall of Fame. I can't remember who the player was, but he had a lefty glove on his right hand. Little silly, honest to God, I'll dig it out. But it's a lefty glove on his right hand. And we're just like, look at this. It was just crazy stuff.
Years ago, we sold David Hall's T206 collection, started PSA, and it was the most extensive T206 collection I've ever seen. It was over 5,500 different entries for the T206 with all the different backs. And he is a wealth of knowledge on the T206, and he knew a bunch of weird errors like that he was also lamenting don't have the interest or the popularity or the fame. So there are some in there, but then that's something where if you find one, it may not be valuable, but it's an interesting collectible to have in your collection, and it's got a story.
JM?
Prov, and actually, the way we do the show is Zap kind of sends me a few, bullet points to ask, and then
you don't pay any attention to them.
I come up with better questions.
That's why y'all are a great team.
See, notice he just froze when that crap came out of his mouth. He froze. See, because he was dissing me. So
you don't have to.
You've just got a button on your desk to freeze him. That's not a bad idea.
What's your question?
You don't have to mention names, but.
Oh, he froze again. See, JM, I don't know if you can hear me.
Am I froze?
Oh yeah, but when you disrespect me, that's exactly what I do. Yeah, we're losing.
Have you had athletes come to Heritage with less help?
Oh, we lost. That's too bad. We lost them. I'm really, really upset that we lost them. I have another question for you. No, we're going to take a break. No, we have 2 minutes. No, the reason being, I have to ask this question before we bring Jeff in. Prov, athletes, I'm reading some disturbing things about this modern market and what's going on. I'm reading about athletes buying up cards and having other athletes sign them. And it's kind of is it turning the market a little topsy-turvy so that it becomes a one-of-one, or you know what I mean? And they're cutting deals with each other? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, first off, I love that so many athletes are becoming collectors and being public about it, posting about it, talking about it. That's great. That's something like if Ted Williams had been a collector and had been talking about collecting cards, that would have been great for baseball and collectors in general. So I do like that they're getting involved. And like I said earlier, it's supposed to be fun. And those guys are having fun with it. They're getting their card and having Mike Trout or some big star sign it. It's making it something very valuable, but it's unique. And I like those little twists on it. And that's, makes for interesting stories, interesting reads, which is good for everybody.
All right, listen, JM, we're going to take a break. You can ask your question after the show ends.
It was kind of that.
No, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back,
that was a good one. That was a good one.
When we come back, Jeff Marren's going to join us, and we'll manage to get that silly question in, Mallory. All right, hang in there. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden Auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Provenzale. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Provenzale Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Provenzale Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Provenzale Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@PetrucelliMKT.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Provenzale Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
So I ask you, Zap, how does your company or organization do promotions? Imprinted products keeps your brand in front of your customers more than any other form of advertising.
I go to Provenzale and ask them to give me free stuff.
And they don't. We get nothing. Not even a pen.
Freaking cheap
the best,
bastard.
This is the worst ad ever written. For the best on-site service and new ideas for your next project, give Provenzale Marketing Group a call at 603-880-3202 or email info@PetrucelliMKT.com.
You know, Rico wrote that copy, and I told him at the time, Rico, this copy is like you leaning into a left hook. That's what I said to him. But it is what it is. All right, let's bring in our friend is here, Jeff Marren. Jeff, you look like a freaking professor.
Oh, it's the new glasses. Yeah, I just got
them. You look kind of cool.
Thanks. My kid said I look like the old man from Up. So, cool might be stretching it.
Hey, I don't know if you know Mike Provenzale from Heritage Auctions, Jeff Marren from Rockhurst Auctions.
I don't think we've met. Yeah.
Right, listen, before we get into
from Up, it's very cool.
That's right.
Oh, thank you.
Before we get into Jeff's auction, our friend, Mr. Mallory, by the way, Jim, where the hell are you now? You moved.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Oh, I switched spots. Yeah.
So you look like you're.
Well, I switched spots because I think the internet is a little better where I am now.
You look like you're in a gymnasium now.
No, I'm just never mind where I am. Okay.
I think you're on the run. I really think you're on the run. All right, tell us about our good friends and the Philly Show.
I will as soon as I get the copy. Here we go. East Coast Sports Marketing and Hunt Auctions are pleased to present the Philadelphia Sports Collectors Show, the Philly Show, from Friday, September 22nd to Sunday, September 24th, held at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, Hall B, 100 Station Ave in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Shop over 300 of your favorite hobby dealer booths and over 100,000 square feet of sports collectibles heaven from the 1800s to present day. Major sports auction houses and third-party grading and authentication companies are on hand to assist your collecting needs. The Philly Show is family-friendly, and all kids under 12 get in for free. Well, actually, 12 and under get in for free. Autograph guests to include Pete, the Hit King Rose, and Baseball Hall of Famers Jim Thome and Pedro Martinez, and 2023 inductee Scott Rowland. Basketball legends Julius Dr. J. Irving and Allen Iverson, and many, many, many more. For more information, go to PhillyShow.com. Remember, since 1975, the Philly Show is where it all started.
Why doesn't Jim Thome pronounce his name Jim Thome?
Jim Thome. I don't know.
Right?
I've always said it should be Jim Thome.
Just a question. All right, Jeffrey, you have first of all, what are the dates of your auction?
It's this Thursday and Friday, September 12th and 13th.
Now, I went online on your site. Man, you got some complete sets. Let's talk about those first.
Yeah, no, we always have a pretty good steady stream of 50s, 60s, 70s Topps, Bowman, Fleer sets. A lot of singles, a lot of groups too. They kind of come in every way, shape, and form. So there's lots of graded stuff. There's lots of raw stuff. Some oddball things too. But yeah, it's a pretty good card offering this time. Plus we had a huge display box and pack collection in April, and we have the second volume of that in this auction. Smaller offering, but some nice display boxes from the 50s and 60s.
Tell us about the Mickey Harris collection.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite collections we've seen in years. So it comes right from Harris's family. He of course pitched for the Red Sox in the 40s and a couple other teams at the end of his career. But he came out of World War II. He served for 4 years. He had been on the team for a couple of years, and he had his best season ever in 46. he threw he won 17 games. So what he did was, and he was a little bit unusual, especially for the period. He collected might be the wrong word, but he kept autographs from teammates and things like that. And what he ended up doing was keeping a game ball from every single game that he won in 46, and he notated each one. Put the date on there, what the score, what the box score, and the score of the game. So it's kind of a really neat collection. It's all those game balls, which covers some interesting things. And some of those games had Ted Williams home runs. The last one, the 17th one, I like especially. He actually struck out DiMaggio in that game, which, as anybody knows, at least in this group knows, that he only struck out maybe 25 times that whole season. So, and then he also ended up getting a ball signed by Babe Ruth. So it's a really nice Ruth side panel ball. And he actually got balls signed by Truman and Eisenhower when they visited when Boston was playing in Washington at the games they were at. He was on the roster for both those games, and so those are really tough balls.
So he won 17 for the 46, right?
Right.
So
so
who were the two guys? Was Mel Parnell on that team also? I believe. I
believe he was. Yeah.
That was JM. That was the game. That Johnny Pesky pump faked and the run scored because he hesitated.
Oh, yeah,
which really lost them the World Series. But hey,
Jeff, how did you come to get this collection? Is there a story behind it?
Not really. It's just advertising, and the grandson called and was interested in the process, and we talked him through it, and so it worked out. It was nice. So it all comes right from the family, which is ideal in our business, because there's a lot of fog. as you know, between us and the material. Sometimes we're trying to put together the history, so it's nice when it's the first. It's from an original source like that, and Jeff, the stuff's just really neat.
Jeff. Go ahead, John. Go ahead.
I was going to say I wanted to ask because I was on your site and sorry to interrupt you this up, but you have. Can you just talk about these armor coins that you have? I mean, those are pretty interesting.
Yeah, armor coins. There were several issues of those, and the mantle coins, like anything else from the '60s, the mantle issues are the keys there. And there's a bunch. There was one series where his name was misspelled, so those are a little more sought after by collectors, and they come in all different colors, so guys can drive themselves nuts getting all the variations on those. They come in solid colors, and there's even some mixed colors that show up. So those are a little bit tougher in terms of the oddball sets. From the early 60s.
Jeff, we talk about this all the time. Niche auction houses and niche businesses, and you guys, you and Prov, you're both outstanding examples of Heritage Auction. 5,354,000 employees in 84 countries, and then you've got Rockhurst, which is a smaller operation, but you both have your niche customers, and that's what's really appealing in this hobby. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
there's room for different size firms for sure. Obviously, we all know what Heritage does worldwide, and and when I'm trying to make a case for us, it's sometimes most of the time consignors are talking to the owner of the company, so that's a little bit different feel, and some people like both versions, so it works out good for everybody.
I couldn't
Jeff, Jeff, did you get the glasses you're wearing from Elvis? Because I have to say those are pretty Elvis-esque cool glasses.
No, I don't have any Elvis glasses in house right now.
Well, Prov, you have to understand you are probably the foremost Elvis auctioneer in the world. I mean, when's your next Elvis auction? Is there anything coming up?
Yeah, and we always have stuff in the auction. There's always Elvis memorabilia in every sale we do, but we just had our big live one down in Memphis in August for Elvis Week, which was great. We had 65 items, his jewelry, his personal clothing, that kind of stuff. We had a jumpsuit from one of his movies that he wore as a race car driver. Did really well, did about $30,000. The next one's coming up in January down in Memphis for the big 90th birthday celebration. Elvis would have been 90 this coming year. So we do one every January and August down there. Those are the big weeks for Elvis collectors.
What are your thoughts? I hope I'm not off base here by asking a question, but what are your thoughts on the whole real estate scam?
Oh man, that cracked it because of course my phone blew up when the story hit the internet that day, and actually when I read the whole story, it all fell apart immediately for me. At the bottom of the story, the notary was like, "Yeah, I never met Lisa Marie Presley." So I think the end game for that scammer was that they thought somebody was going to write them a quick check to make it go away, but it didn't make any sense. It was just a money scam, like they were going to pull one over on anybody, but. it was all nonsense. It was just ridiculous.
How did you? What were your thoughts about the National? Were you happy with the results?
Yeah, the National was great. It's irony. The irony is everyone talked about Cleveland being a little bit smaller of a venue, but there's a huge part of that venue they don't use. So I'm not sure what the story is there. Like as we walked through the back room, we were like, what's going on back here? There's like hundreds of thousands of empty square feet, but it was fine. It was a good show. It's always good.
Yeah, we had fun.
You get to see a lot of clients in person. So.
Good to see all you guys. Listen, before we end this, I want your opinions. I'm going to ask you this first, Prov. Ohtani or Judge?
If I'm building a team right now, I'm taking Ohtani just because of the dual threat. Judge is an amazing player, though. That's a tough choice right there. But give me the Ohtani just because of the potential, the Babe Ruth comparisons. I think after this year, he's going to be okay to pitch again next year, and that's just a marvel. I mean, it's so unique.
Jeff?
Yeah, he's doing some just ridiculous things. You can't say it enough, But for argument's sake, I would take Judge then. He's at the absolute peak of his powers. He's not going to get hurt like someone who's trying to hurl as hard as Ohtani throws. That's what I would worry about him long term, is that if they're going to let him pitch, he's going to pitch. It's not like he's going to turn into a knuckleball pitcher, So he's going to put a lot of stress on that arm. So I mean, Judge is just a killer.
JM, you're the tiebreaker here, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if Ohtani pitches again, it's Ohtani. There's no question about it, because we haven't seen a guy like that since Ruth. If it were me, I'd make him my closer. I wouldn't wear out his arm as a starter, to be honest with you. But, Aaron Judge is going to have a monument out there in Yankee Stadium. He's killing it, and it's still New York, and it's still the Yankees, much as Zepp and I hate to say it. So, I mean, they're neck and neck. But Ohtani, if he comes back and pitches, I'll give the edge to Ohtani, obviously.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
Jeff, your website address?
Rockhurstauctions.com. The auction closes this Thursday and Friday, the 12th and 13th.
And
lots of goodies.
Oh, yeah. And Prov? Which
HA.com.
And you have something going on now? When's that ending?
That is going to end the first week of October, and I'll give a shout out to our entertainment department, which has the Game of Thrones auction.
I was going to ask you about that Game of Thrones stuff. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Every prop and costume from HBO. I'm a huge fan of the books and the series, so our office is like a wonderland for me right now.
Yeah, that was cool. And your what was it? What was it? Was it a Star Wars thing that you guys had also at the National? That was pretty cool too. That was very cool.
It's a fun place to work. There's always something interesting, whatever you're into.
All right, guys, we're just about out of time. Jeffrey, we love having you. I wish you'd come on more often. Don't be so lazy, number one.
He's running the company.
It's only because there's a complete
guys all the time.
And, it's only because your lack of professionalism. That's all,
Man, if that were the case, we'd have no guests.
and Prov, make sure you give a shout out to Derek for us.
Absolutely. Tell Derek I said hello.
Yeah, tell him we're all asking for him, and
for sure.
It's just going to be a matter of time before he gets back here.
Yeah.
And JM, I'm glad. Again, I still think you're in the Lawrence City Jail. That's where you're broadcasting from. But
sorry about the internet. I thought I had a good signal, but if I have to do remote again next week, I'll find a better spot.
Good. And a shout out to my granddaughter. A shout out to my granddaughter Lucy, who we are very proud of. She's a freshman at a local high school here, and they're rated number 3 in the state in soccer. And she is starting as a freshman for the number 3 team in the state.
Nice.
That's outstanding.
She's a player.
That's outstanding.
Great.
All right. With that being said, have a great weekend, you guys. To our viewers and listeners, I can't thank you enough. Rico can't thank you enough. JM can't thank you enough. It's been off the charts for us, and we're here as long as we have our health. So with that being said, happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.